National trip where everybody's tired to talk about a potential staff shakeup. How serious is this? We've heard in the past the president's mad, the president's venting, the president thinks his staff isn't doing good enough job, and it's just passed. How serious is this talk of a major White House staff shakeup?
I think it's pretty serious. It's more serious than it has been at any other point up until now. But there are limited options. A, there are not a lot of people in Washington who are eager now to go inside and work there. B, there's still a sense of division inside the West Wing here. Everyone's not on the same page. But I think that one of the things I was seeing when I was traveling over the last week with the president, the administration is not clear on its policy toward Russia. On Thursday, I believe it was, Gary Cohn, the chief economic advisor, said the president didn't know his view on Russian sanctions. That sort of created a bit of an uproar. The next day, he said, of course he knows he's going to leave them as they are or strengthen them. The policy toward Russia has been sort of muted or confused by all of this. And I think until the president sort of realizes that this investigation is serious, not fake news, not sore loser Democrats, I think that's a huge challenge. I'm not sure if you talk to a lot of Democrats who are eager to do the right thing, I'm not sure how helpful it is to this process to have Secretary Clinton out there doing this, because that injects politics into it. Right. And really, this is much more serious than that.
Especially the rejoinder from Republicans is going to be, well, the only president who was impeached was your husband.
Right. To that point, you read all these accounts of the potential White House staff shakeup, and they say they're going to follow the Clinton model, where essentially you take a crisis team, you have a government team. If you're asking about health care policy or tax reform policy, you talk over here. If you're talking about, in this case, it was Monica Lewinsky back in those days, then it was Mike McCarthy handled the government, Joe Lockhart handled the crisis. That's something like that in the Trump White House now. As you see these stories, they say the Trump people want to follow the Clinton model. I just would remind people, Clinton got humiliated and impeached.
Right. And also, this White House is fixated on this idea that this is a PR problem, which it is not. It is a real thing. And the source of a lot of their grief over the last couple of weeks has also been the president himself. So they're working really hard to try to figure out, okay, how do we restructure the press office and the communications shop to deal with all these inquiries, to communicate better? At the end of the day, that's only a part of the problem. It's not the full picture. And the Clinton model was in part successful in a limited sense because they actually had policy to kind of go back on. Like they had some sort of like track record of governing, whereas this White House is really struggling to get their feet under them in terms of real policy and real agenda items that they want to put out there.
They also had a booming economy. We have an economy now that is kind of sluggish. We'll see what happens. And to your point about a 9-day international trip, no press conference from the President of the United States. No tweets about this subject either. So at the moment, he seems to be listening to the attorneys. We'll see if that plays out. Up next.